everybody. Again, we're addressing my son's schizoaffective disorder. But those of you that have people in your family with mental illness, one of your loved ones, may have been given multiple diagnoses along the way. I will get into that in another video. But yes, his was basically ADHD, behavior disorder, then bipolar, maybe schizophrenic, and then, oh yeah, definitely schizophrenia. And then when he finally got the correct diagnosis, it was schizoaffective disorder. And I understand why different psychiatrists, different hospitals are a little confused by it. Because really, the age groups for these to kick in, they usually say men in their 20s, kind of college age, and women a little later than that, 20s towards 30. But my son's mental illness kicked in full force at about 15 years old. Even though there'd been problems when he was younger, this just went full force, and that's when we really started to have problems and get confused. He'd think he was homeless. He would go missing even though he lived in a good neighborhood. So this time we were living in a place called Melbourne, Florida. Actually, to be more specific, West Melbourne. We lived in a gated community, and he was seeing a child psychiatrist, Dr. Mosley, fabulous psychiatrist. We would go to see Dr. Mosley on a regular basis. So I would go with Corey, and Corey would go in first and talk to him about how he was feeling, his symptoms, how medication was working. And then Corey would leave the office, and then I would go in, and I would tell them what I was seeing. And we all worked together, Dr. Mosley, myself, and my son, to try and get him better. Well, things were really starting to get out of control. Corey would take off. He would go missing for days. So during one of these incidents, we got the heads up that he was staying at this girl's house. So my ex-husband and I kind of rolled around in that area in the car to see if we could find him. And we found him walking down the street, but then he would just run off and disappear. So we knew he was still alive, but we really didn't know how to get him home. So for his next appointment, I went to go see Dr. Mosley by myself, and I told him what was going on. And Dr. Mosley said, look, we need to get a judge to sign a court order to pick him up and have him admitted to the psych ward. I was like, yay, great. So he submitted it, got it through right away. I had the paperwork. We continued to look for him, and then found him, and I had the paperwork in my hand. And he's walking down the street, and we're yelling at him. Now, he's off medication at this point. We're yelling at him, to come to us. And he was just kind of being real flippant, even pulled his pants down to show his butt. It was like, fuck off, leave me alone. So I called 911 for help. And 911 was like, stay in the car, don't follow him. And I said, no, I'm going to follow him because he's running. So I jump out of the car. He starts running. I start pegging it after him. I'm running. He goes into this park. It's starting to get dark at this point. And the 911 operator is yelling at me on the phone, don't follow him. I'm like, I already am. And she's like, the police are coming. Then he gets deep into this park, and I can't see anymore. So I stop. And I know the park basically has houses on either side and then a drainage ditch. Now, remember, we're in Florida, so alligators, snakes, a lot of nasty stuff. So I'm on the phone, and I start walking back towards the road, and lickety-split, cop shows up there. Was there right away. What's going on? I said, well, he's over here. So then they bring the dogs, and then the next thing I see is a helicopter. So they've got it surrounded, and it right away. So they've got the dogs going in. The heat-seeking device on the helicopter actually picked him up because he was under a bush. But at this time, I'm back with the one police officer that said, look, get in your car, just in case he goes back to the house. He could be dangerous. We're going to follow you, and we're going to search the house and make sure that, you know, you're safe and he's not in there with any weapons or anything like that. So we're heading back, and then we get the word the helicopters found him, the dogs are on him, they pick him up, we got the court order, they take him off to the psych ward, thinking, great, everything is good, this is all going to be good. They admit him to the psych ward. The paperwork said that he needed to stay there at least 72 hours. They released him within 12 hours. And after all that police effort, we're right back to the same situation. But I have another video that you should look at. And that's a difference between living in a really good neighborhood and the type of help you're going to get with somebody that's missing to living in inner city neighborhood that's not so good. Anyway, have a great day.